Good evening, my name is Richard. This is Over and Over and Over Again. This is the Arsenal Review. It's episode 16, I think it is actually, and it's the first one of 2023. If you wasn't with us earlier on this afternoon, Happy New Year. I hope you all had a very good Christmas and that 2023 is going to be a good year. It may well be a good year for Arsenal. Certainly, things at the moment are looking pretty rosy, aren't they? So we're going to be looking back on the return of the Premier League. We played two really good games over Christmas. Got another 6 points on the board. We're going to look ahead to tomorrow night. It's a really important big game at the Emirates against Newcastle. The FA Cup kicks off as well, doesn't it, at the weekend? Well, we're playing on Monday, unfortunately, but we'll look ahead to that game against Oxford, a team we've never won away at. So that's an interesting tie. And also, as well, just have a quick look also. The transfer window's open. No transfers in yet, a bit annoying. We've had 2 days of the transfer window. What are we doing? We're kicking our heels again. We should have bought at least 4 players by now. But we'll look at the transfer window as well, who we may buy, who we want to buy, who we need to buy. So all that's coming up the other side of this. Real Martinelli. It's now with Granit Xhaka. Is it going to be the third goal? It is the third goal. Granit Xhaka with it. That seals it. And we've got a fantastic panel with us to discuss all of those things. Actually, welcoming back to the Arsenal Review. In fact, I think, Adam, it might be your first appearance on the Arsenal Review due to Monday nights not really suiting you this season. But it's great to see you a lot on other shows. It is good to see you.
It's exactly that reason. Yeah, Mondays are usually not good for me. But with being a bank holiday, I thought I'd jump on the chance to get straight back in. So, yeah, good to be back.
Very good to see you. And Tom as well, back again on the channel. Good to see you again.
Thanks very much. Happy New Year, everyone.
Yeah, Happy New Year, and let's hope that it's going to be a good 2023. I'm sure it will be. And Neil as well. Good to see you. I know you've had a few weeks off. Good to see you back. You're refreshed, are you? Ready to go?
Yeah, I don't know about refreshed, but we're still in the same place. We're still top of the league, Richard, and we're still winning it. So come on.
Indeed we are. So I suppose before we start, we perhaps need a little blast of this. Fully updated as well. 16 games played, 7 points clear. I mean, what's there not to like, really, about any of that? I mean, it's pretty good stuff, isn't it? I think one of the things that we were certainly on the show a few weeks ago, we were a little bit worried about what would happen after the World Cup, the break in momentum and all that kind of stuff. And actually, we didn't need to worry about it at all, did we? Because 2 games, 2 victories, 7 goals, brilliant stuff, and we've gone 7 points clear at the top, so we didn't need to worry, really, did we? I mean, obviously, the place we'll start, I suppose, go back to Boxing Day. You know, the turkey was getting cold, but Arsenal certainly wasn't. A slow start to the game, I think there's no doubt about that. First half wasn't great. We looked a little bit rusty, maybe understandably so, but once we got going, the second half was pretty good, wasn't it? We scored 3, could have scored a few more, and in the end, West Ham were kind of didn't know where they were coming or going, did they? To be fair, but a good performance in the end. And of course, Eddie there in that picture popped up with a goal. Jesus, who everyone was worried about missing, hadn't scored for months. Eddie comes in, bang, straight away, first game, first goal. So a great return to the side for him in the Premier League. I mean, Adam, what did you make of that performance overall? Because I mean, it was impressive in the end, wasn't it? Even though it was a slow start.
I think at the end of the game, I was very happy, but also quite relieved because, like you said, it was a slow start, the first half especially. But I kind of expected it. Like, it wasn't unexpected that it was a slow start, you know. But I thought what was most impressive was how we reacted in the second half. I thought when we did go down, which was against the run of play, it was a penalty. Let's be honest, it was a penalty.
Yeah, it was.
I thought it was so important how we reacted, and we reacted well, like we had done throughout this season, and we hadn't gone back to how we were last season, where we would have capitulated and gone to pot. So for me, for us to come out after half time and dominate that second half completely, that was the most. And we could have scored more goals in the end, to be fair.
Yeah.
We were all over them in the second half. I mean, you mentioned before, Eddie, I thought had a good game. I thought Odegaard's been superb since he's, returned from the World Cup. I mean, I think them two, for me, they didn't go to the World Cup. They've had a lot of time to work on the fitness, and I think that shows. They look a lot sharper than some of the other guys. Not saying the other guys are not looking sharp, because they're getting there, especially against Brighton in patches. But them two, for me, have been the standout players in the last two games. And maybe it has been a factor that they weren't at the World Cup. Who knows? But yeah, I just wanted the result before the game. I thought, well, let's just get the result. Not worry too much about that performance, not read too much into it. But the fact that we did turn it around so well and dominate that second half gave us the platform that we took into the Brighton game, which we'll cover. So yeah, I was relieved and over the moon with the result completely.
Yeah, I think I'd agree with that, actually. That game was always going to be important, wasn't it? The first game back after the World Cup, we wanted to regain the momentum that we had before, and the only way to do that was to win that game. And yeah, we took a while getting going. I mean, Tom, it seemed to be quite key, the fact we equalised so early in the second half. You could sense as soon as that equaliser went in that we were probably going to go on and win that game. Up until that point, it was in the balance, certainly. But that seemed to be the big turning point, didn't it? The equaliser.
Yeah, it's when they say a game of two halves, it definitely wasn't it? The first half was a bit sort of soggy and the short passes or too long or whatever, and then we found our rhythm. So I don't know what Arteta did at half time, but whatever he said, apparently I heard that Wenger took a team talk in the first half, probably went put to sleep or something, and second half it was Arteta probably saying, "Come on, get your finger out." Great second half performance. Really, really solid. West Ham, no mugs, and basically it can be quite a tricky kind of contest, can't it? We've suffered at the hands of them before now, so it was a potential banana skin, but I was quite confident, and I think we played ever so well. There was some really standout performances. Already mentioned Odegaard. He'll get a lot of mentions tonight, I would imagine. He's my boy. Real skill, real class, and as you say, probably benefited from the rest and not being at the World Cup.
Yeah, I mean, he did, and you could see, and I think, that was a good point that Adam made about the World Cup, and I do feel as though it does seem, doesn't it, that some of the players that didn't go were really ready to go, and maybe some of the others are just needed a little bit more time to get into their game a little bit, didn't they? But I mean, overall, it was, the result was the most important thing. I wouldn't really care how we played. Winning the game was what mattered, but in the end, we actually played really well in the second half, didn't we? And that's the key factor. I mean, Neil, you must have enjoyed that in the end. I know it was a bit nervy, wasn't it, for a while there? But I say once Saka scored, I always felt we would win that game.
Brilliant. I was lucky to be there, and I was, for the first time in ages, I was in the North Bank, simply because it's got so difficult to get tickets to where we normally would like to sit. And we stood for the whole game. It was crazy. The whole area was just standing, and that added to the excitement and the atmosphere. And it was constant noise. Even the first half that the boys have talked about, we were a little bit rusty. Took a bit of time to get going, but the crowd levels, the noise was fabulous, and especially when Wenger was shown on the screen after the second goal. Goodness me, it just was electric. It's I keep saying the atmosphere is so good every time I go, and it seems to get better each time I go. And honestly, it was one of the best atmospheres I've ever experienced at the Emirates. It was just so good. And what's nice about it is even when the boys are not playing well, if there's a mistake made or we go a goal down, they're just behind them as much as if we were winning 5-0. And that's the key thing. But I honestly, I wasn't surprised as well. I thought it's a tough thing to come back to after the break. But do you know what? It was made more significant for me because I knew that the West Ham game and the Brighton game, although difficult ties in their own right, we have got such a hard run now over the next month and a half of really tough games. And I thought if we can at least get the points against these two, then at least we'll still have that buffer at the very minimum of 5 points. Now it's 7, thankfully, to City's results. But at least we just kept that buffer of 5, at least, so that in case we needed it, if that makes sense. And so that made it even more important. And that's a testament to their mentality, because they knew that they needed to win. I think we played later on. Yeah, we played at 8:00, didn't we, on Boxing Day? So all the results were in. They knew exactly what everyone else had done. So that adds to the pressure. And maybe that was another reason why they were a little bit nervy in the first half and weren't quite themselves. But yeah, second half, absolutely brilliant. And my God, the players, I mean, I'm getting confused between the two, because Brighton and West Ham, it's like we've got similar scorers, but a nice variety of scorers. And I'm trying to
Yeah,
think, was that
yeah.
goal Brighton's goal or West Ham's goal? But all of them
Yeah.
are really, really good. I mean, Nketiah, just to finish by saying, we were all worried. I was so concerned that Jesus was going to be out for a few months. I was a little bit worried when Ben White went home early from the World Cup. I thought, is this a mental thing? Is he going to be even featured for us anytime soon? But he's come back amazing. And Nketiah, 2 goals in 2 games. Not missing Jesus at the minute. It's great.
Well, no, I mean, Jesus hadn't even scored for months. So, it's nice that Eddie's come in and got the goals. I mean, it was nice. A good point that you made there about obviously Arsene Wenger, his first time back at the Emirates since he left as manager in 2018. So it was about time he's back. Good to see him back. And whether this means he's going to be back a bit more often, maybe, that'd be nice, won't it? Because ultimately he's a absolute legend of the club and he, deserves to be back in the stadium. And I know they're talking about a statue and what have you as well, which would be amazing, wouldn't it? Certainly should be a statue of Arsene Wenger outside the Emirates. I don't think there's much doubt about that. But yeah, that was really good as well. So it kind of made it the perfect kind of Boxing Day game, really, didn't it? And yeah, we had to wait a long time for it. It was the last game on. We had to see the other results coming in, some good results that we enjoyed, and some maybe not quite so good. But ultimately, we got our job done. And very impressive in the end we were. Terry's in the chat. He says, good evening, Richard, Adam, Tom and Neil. Happy New Year to you all. I'm listening but must carry on decorating because of Richard doing early show has got me in trouble with the old woman. Well, no, I'm sorry about that too. It was just a late thing we got together to get. Obviously, we've got a Newcastle fan on to look at the game tomorrow. But yeah, you keep working, Joe. That's what you need to do. Don't worry about us. Just listen in the background and it'll be fine. Yeah, get that paintbrush going. So yeah, that was obviously West Ham, a brilliant way to get back into the Premier League again after the break, and that's what we needed to do. Got the victory, and we moved on to what I thought was going to be a very difficult game at a place where we've struggled in recent years, down at Brighton. Not the ideal weather conditions either this year again, but we went there and got the job done. A strange game in many ways, but ultimately 3 points again is all that matters. In a way, I suppose maybe we could relax a little bit after the Man City result came in before our game. And I suppose that gave us the opportunity to go 7 points clear. Maybe that was a bit more pressure on us, perhaps. I don't know. Or did we feel a little bit more relaxed? Because if we had dropped points, it wouldn't have been a total disaster, I suppose. But we went out there, scored within a minute at a ground where we've struggled. And we went on and we dominated the game for about an hour. Suddenly, was we complacent? Did we take our foot off the gas? Maybe the changes disrupted our performance a little bit. And in the end, fair play to Brighton. They gave it a go. They never gave up and they got themselves back in it. And if that third goal hadn't been disallowed, it would have been a very, very nervy last 5 minutes, wouldn't it? But in the end, we fully deserved to win. And some of our counter-attacking football in that game was just brilliant to watch. Absolutely brilliant to watch. We soaked up the pressure. We did have a lot of possession, but when we got the ball, and that the fourth goal, wasn't it, the Martinelli goal when Erdegaard put that assist through? That, for me, that's the assist of the season. That, I mean, you had a quick look up, put that ball absolutely exactly where it needed to go, the right pace, the right direction, everything. It was just perfect. And what a goal that was. But I thought the way we played on the counter attack. I mean, Adam, that was really impressive, wasn't it? The way we set up that game and getting the early goal helped, obviously. It always helps scoring early on, settles you down. But it was a great performance for certainly an hour or so, wasn't it?
It was. And I think for me, I loved that game. It had a bit of everything, and we weren't solid all the way through, like you mentioned. I think the thing I liked the most was the fact that, as you said, we'd seen the Man City result earlier in the day, and you could have been forgiven for actually taking a bit more of a standoffish approach, but we scored so early and we went at them so early. I just thought that is such the right mentality and the right attitude to have. Just get at them straight early and get ahead. And 2-0 at half time, I thought we were going to cruise it. I thought we were either just going to stand off, keep it 2-0, keep it, or we're going to go for it. And it was a bit of both, really, to be honest, in the end. But just the fact that we didn't, hold back early on and we went for it from kickoff and got that early goal, that spoke, volumes for me about the kind of side that we've got now. That they weren't bothered. They weren't really caring about other results. They just wanted to win that game. And I think that's the way we've got to approach every game, not look at the other results, because that can be off-putting. Let's just go out and play our own game and try and win every game. And when we did go to, when it did go 4-3 or 4-2, I was a little bit worried because you did see a few little cracks happening. When we were put under pressure, we were a little bit shaky, let's be honest. But like
Yeah.
you just said, was it because we made those subs? You know, the fullbacks were changed and the
Mm.
momentum was changed a little bit. I understood why he did that, because
Yeah.
you've got to give these people game time. There's huge amounts of games coming up, so you need that rotation and you need these people to have these minutes. So them having the minutes will pay dividends further down the line. But it did kind of give me a bit of a wake-up call to think, right, we're not the finished article yet. We've still got a long way to go. But the thing for me is, like you mentioned, Brighton are no mugs, you know, no change manager, but they are no mugs. And to go to their ground where they've had a good season, they've done us, you know, home and away the last few seasons. They've played really well against us. I thought it was a real intent, the first half especially. But I thought, again, Odegaard had an amazing game. And there was also that pass to Martinelli in the first half, that little drag back and nutmeg.
Yeah.
Oh, I could watch that all day. That was just, I loved that. If that would have gone in, that would have been goal of the season straight away, straight there. It was amazing. But I felt like Odegaard had a good game. Martinelli, I thought, looked better. I know Martinelli scored against West Ham as well, but I thought he looked stronger against Brighton.
Yeah, he did.
I thought Eddie's hold-up play and his link play against Brighton was superb as well. Like, you know, he's not really been known for that in the past, but his movement off the ball, whether he's learnt that from working with Jesus more, I don't know, but I hadn't seen that from him much last season. But his link-up play was superb. His running off the ball was superb. Proper striker's goal. I always love to see a sniffer's goal. I always love to see that 6-yard box goal. But yeah, I mean, I was over the moon at the end of that. I was more happy at the end of the Brighton game than I was at the end of the West Ham game. Because like I said, West Ham I was more relieved. The Brighton game I was actually really happy. 7 points clear of Man City. You know, we rode our luck a little bit towards the end. But yeah, you can't not be happy at the moment, can you? Really?
No, absolutely not. And it was good to see, actually, Eddie getting that goal that you mentioned, a real poacher's goal inside the 6-yard box, tapping in when the goalie couldn't hold the shot, the original shot. And that's something that Jesus doesn't do. He hasn't scored any goals like that. The goals he scored have been more, you know, clever finishes from sort of edge of the box mainly, haven't they, and stuff like that. He's not getting himself in those positions, and whether that's because that's how Arteta wants him to play, possibly as well, and maybe Eddie is allowed to get into the 6-yard box more. And if that's the case, then Eddie will score a lot of goals because we've got the ball in that area quite a lot in every game. We put it in that area, and quite often there's no one there to finish it off. Well, Eddie is there now, and maybe we're not going to miss Jesus as much as we all feared that we might, which is very strange to say what an impact he's made. But yeah, I did like the fact that Eddie got that goal, the way that he got it as well. The fact that he didn't give it up, you know, Martinelli's run down the wing, had a shot, and maybe some people would have stopped running, but he carried on, got himself there, and was able to have a simple tap in. And that's a goal scoring instinct, isn't it? You can't teach that, you can't coach that. You've got it or you haven't, and he's clearly got it. He's a 6-yard box player, and I want to see him more now. The next few games, I want to see him in that 6-yard box, getting on the end of things, finishing things off, because that's what he's good at. And yes, if his overall game has improved, I thought so. Against Brighton, he was really impressive. I really thought he played well.
Yeah, and I agree.
Yeah, I think his overall game is definitely improving. But he's a 6-yard box player. That's where he's going to do most of his damage, and that's where I want to see him a lot more. And that was really good to see. I mean, Tom, it was a strange game, wasn't it? The Brighton game in many ways, especially the second half. It seemed to be almost like basketball. We'll score, they'll score, we'll score. I always felt though that we had more goals in us if we needed them. You know, if they'd got it to 4-3, it would have been nervy, but I would have been more likely that we would have got a 5th goal than them get a 4th goal. That was how I felt the game was playing out. Did you feel that as well? Or, I mean, luckily the goal wasn't allowed, so we won't ever know, but it didn't matter.
Yeah, I mean, Brighton, it's just been said that they're a really hard team to crack. So run for their money. So I think it was particularly pleasing because there are so many sort of games like this where we're going to come up against it and we're going to have to come out the other side. Just talking about Nketiah, I mean, I've not been too encouraged by him in the past because when he's had his opportunities, he seems to be standing off it and all the rest of it. But now, obviously, I think you can see the footage between him and Arteta. Arteta is arm round him, congratulating him. He's obviously bigging him up and telling him he can make this great. And let's be honest, he's only 22. We all forget that, I suppose, because he's been around forever. Feels like he's, been around.
He's 23.
23. It's still a very young age for a striker. You don't really click into your gear till you're about 26, 27. But yeah, I mean, it was a very satisfying game our front three or four, if you want to look at it like that, I mean, they will punish anybody. The amount of speed they've got, the vision that you've got from Odegaard, the mopping up from Partey, the support from Xhaka, and you've got the two flanks. I mean, it's incredible. Even looking forward to this month where we've got really challenging games, I think we'll be okay because we are a threat. And the other thing we've cracked is if we get behind, we don't actually fall on our arse anymore and start feeling sorry for ourselves. We get busy again. So there is a belief. Arteta has put this belief in this squad that it doesn't matter what the score when you go in at halftime, you can turn the game around. That's exactly what we're doing. It's brilliant to see. If you can't enjoy this, then you can't enjoy anything.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And I mean, obviously, the belief helps, doesn't it, when you're getting the results as well? It's easy to have that belief when you've been winning games week after week. And I think that's been important as well. And yeah, every time we seem to have suffered a setback, which there hasn't been many this season, let's be honest, we have tended to bounce back really quickly, which has been the main difference because in the last couple of seasons, we've not done that. That was the key issue last season, really, wasn't it? We never really, we didn't seem to be able to come back from sort of setbacks. We'd lose 3 or 4 in a row last season. We did it a couple of times, didn't we? 3 or 4 times. And this season, we seem to have that in us, that we've got that belief now, which is good to see. And I agree. I mean, I've been trying to downplay our chances maybe to myself as much as anything, just because I find it very, very, even looking at the league table now, sometimes I've looked at it and thought that can't actually be real. This young team, from being, blowing the top 4 last season, and to suddenly be in this position, it doesn't seem real. It almost seems like we're going to wake up and the league table won't look like that at all. We'll be like 5th place, 6th place down in the table. That's almost what it feels like. And that's almost how I see it. But every week I'm thinking, is this going to be the week where it all falls apart? No, we're winning again. Is this going to be the week? No, because we're winning again. And suddenly now we're getting to the point where those last 2 games in particular have started to really convince me now that this team aren't going to fall apart. Can we hold off the challenge of Man City? I don't know. That's something we'll get to learn about more.
Do you know what really annoys me, Rich, is the way that Arsenal are looked at? Because if we win against the Brighton side, it was a bit fortuitous because they had a 3rd goal disallowed. Whoever we come against, they kind of moved the goalpost. It's every single time. We still haven't faced this person. We still haven't faced that one. We keep doing it. We keep rolling them over, and we still don't get the credit. Match of the day. We're the 2nd game in.
See, I don't care about what the media say. I don't care about what the pundits say. I'm not interested really, because they've always had an agenda against Arsenal anyway. And to be honest with you, it's actually nice that we're in this position and they don't like it, and you can almost see that they don't like it, and it's great to see, isn't it? I mean, to be fair, I wasn't surprised we were second on. Man City's result was a lot more of a shock because they were held at home to Everton, and we went away from home and won a game that most people probably thought we would probably win. So I can understand why we were second on. And
I'm surprised we were second.
Well, yeah, I thought we may have been a bit further down, but I wasn't surprised Man City were first on, because that was the big result of the day, wasn't it? The shock result and everything like that. But I don't really care about the media, to be honest. I'm quite happy if they're not happy that we're winning, and that's fine. But yeah, I mean, I agree. We don't get the credit we deserve. We never have done. Even when we were, even the invincible team. We drew too many games. You know what I mean? It's that kind of thing, isn't it? And that's the way it is. I don't really care. We've done all these great things in the past, and now we look as though we may be heading towards another spell of being of some sort of success, which I'm hoping that we are. But yeah, I'm starting to really I'm starting to believe it a lot more now, and it's almost impossible not to. I'm still not sure we can win the league necessarily this season, but I don't really care. The fact is that the fact that we can be competitive again now, after all these years of not being so, is so great. And like you said, if you can't enjoy this, what can we enjoy? Let's just hope we can enjoy it for a lot longer. But I know Neil thinks we're going to win the league, and 7 points clear, why not? But Man City seem to be dropping points right, left, and centre. But that Brighton game for me just kind of showed, didn't it? We're under a little bit of pressure away from home at a tough game, and we came out again, didn't we? On top, winning the points and scoring 4 goals away from home. That's pretty impressive, isn't it? Against anyone.
It's all about mentality, isn't it, really? And the mentality has changed. They're fighting for each other. When we go behind, everyone's G'ing everyone up. So it's a complete 360 of mentality shift. And you've got to give it to Jesus and Zinchenko. You bring people like that in, It does tend to rub off on people. Xhaka, who thought he could play like this in an advanced role? I mean, when Wenger bought him, I thought, oh, you might as well have bought a bag of wet washing. What you're doing? He's sideways, he's backwards. Everyone's playing their part. Everyone's stepping up. The level has suddenly climbed, and it's all down to that winning mentality, whether it's Arteta or it's the new guys that they bring in. Transfer window, get another couple in. Who knows? We could hang on. We could still make an impression in the Premier League. No problem.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think now, for me anyway, my kind of hopes for the season have changed definitely now. From at the start of the season, we have to get top 4, right? And we still do have to get top 4. But now I'm starting to think, actually, no, we can challenge for the title. Whether we can win it, we don't know yet. But certainly we're putting up a challenge now. It's still very early in the season. But, I mean, Neil, the Brighton game was good, wasn't it, to get the result? Yes, there was 1 or 2 issues that we need to look at and think, what's going on there. Defensively, we're a bit shaky. But, again, though, it's impressive to go away from. We didn't even have much possession, 38% possession. We scored 4 goals. I mean, that's incredible, isn't it? I mean, that's unusual for an Arsenal team. We're a very possession-based team usually, but we've done it before. We did it against Liverpool at home, didn't we? We didn't have. They had more possession than us. We won 3-2. We've done it again. So it's another aspect to our game, isn't it? That maybe isn't talked about enough. Maybe.
Well, it's good to see in a way because it's like we're winning in different ways. So we've got we've got that. Flexibility to change the style and do it in a different way. And I think what's important is it might only be 38 possession, but we hit them so fast at the beginning. We scored in 1 minute and 6 seconds or something.
Yeah.
So the possession we had, we'd done so much damage. It was always going to be difficult for them to come back. Yes, if that third goal had been allowed, I mean, I was thinking, oh my God, they're gonna score an equaliser now because I thought initially it was allowed. I thought it was a given goal.
Yeah,
I thought this might not be happening. And yes, there are some defensive issue worries. Now, I was lauding on Saliba like nobody's business, and I still am. I think he's been in a bit of a funny one, isn't he? Because he did go to the World Cup, but I don't even think he played much, if at all.
No.
And maybe that's kind of affected him. Maybe because one of the goals was definitely down to his mistake. I think the other goal they scored. Was it that 18-year-old who scored it, or was that the second one, the Saliba mistake? It was the Japanese player that scored the.
Yeah, Mitoma.
Yeah, a good goal. All right.
Good
Defensively, we could have been better, but to be fair to Brighton, that was a great move by them.
Yeah, it was.
And I looked at it. I thought if we'd scored that, we'd go, wow, that was nice. That was a really well constructed and a well taken goal. So I didn't really have any complaints about that. But yeah, the Saliba one, I think he'll be fine. I think he just needs to. Maybe he needs Arteta to talk to him a little bit. He just needs to get himself a little bit sorted out mentally. He'll be fine. A player of his caliber doesn't just turn bad after a few weeks. It just doesn't happen. He's just lost something. We don't know what it is. I'm sure he'll come. I think he just needs one good performance again, and he'll be fine. But the thing is, because we're ticking, as you guys have mentioned, we're ticking everywhere else so well. Everything is working so brilliantly. I would never have caught Tom said Xhaka. I mean, he's one of the best players in the league at the moment. You've got to say it. You have to say it. Ben White, everyone was moaning about his price tag. Oh, my God, for me, he's worth every penny now. He's magnificent. I mean, every player is putting their how can you say, their time in and using it well and effectively. And what's most important is they're playing as individuals, but also playing as a team as well. They're playing as a collective. And when you've got a well-oiled machine, that's what makes it successful. And that's why I think we are going to be successful. And one thing that I wasn't sure that we could do, even Mr. Positive me, was losing a couple of players. And it's shown that, we've lost Zinchenko this season. We've been all right. We've lost Jesus. We're so far 2 games, so far so good. So what can dent us? I'm not sure yet. I think Arteta has got them so well groomed and so well, from a mental standpoint, so well attuned to what their goal is. I can't. I'll actually be disappointed if we don't win the title now. I will be hugely disappointed, honestly. I mean, yes, of course, the goal was top 4, Richard, and Tom and Adam, top 4 all day long. But, early on, I saw signs. No, I think we could do something very special this season. For me, if we come second, I'll be gutted. I really will, honestly.
Well, I mean, I think to a certain degree we'll all be gutted, especially if it's very, very close. There's a couple of points here and there. I think we'd all be gutted. I think everybody would. But I think when maybe if that was the case, I think over the summer when the season's finished, I think we'd be able to reflect and say what a great season it would have been. Anyway, coming second, I'd never have at the start of the season. I'd never have dreamed that we would. I thought third and fourth place is what was likely to be the best we could hope for. So to even be thinking of first and second now is incredible, really. And let's hope that at the end of the season we're still in the running for first or second, because that would be, I think that would be a great season. But yeah, obviously there'll be disappointment if we don't. If it gets to April and we're still in this position now and we didn't win it, then that's going to be a massive disappointment. Then at this moment in time, being 7 points clear, not even halfway through the season, it's nice, but it's not. It's not that important yet, is it? It's more important in April and March and April and early May and stuff like that when it really matters. And if we're in a strong position then and don't win it, then obviously we'll all be devastated, I'm sure. But at this moment in time, let's, as Tom rightly said, let's enjoy it, because it has been great, and it has, slowly it's been building for me. It's been building slowly and slowly, week after week after week, and suddenly you're thinking now this team has got something. I'm a little bit concerned about the depth of the squad. That's a little bit concerned. We're in January now. We'll talk about that a bit later. But yeah, at this moment in time, brilliant. What more can we say? Yeah, Saliba, I think maybe he's suffered a little bit from the World Cup, isn't he? He didn't play. They lost the final. He must have been a little bit down in the dumps. He's had two pretty shaky games. He gave away a penalty against West Ham. Was very sloppy goal he conceded against Brighton. Against better teams, they could come back and haunt us, those mistakes.
Do you think, though, with Saliba, though, he's suffering the fact that he didn't play any minutes in the World Cup?
Exactly. That's what I mean.
He hasn't had those warm-up games. I know, like, warm-up games, people had their opinions about them, but it's definitely helped people get back to match fitness. And I think he suffered a bit because of that. But like Neil says, I've got no doubt we've seen his quality. You don't lose that overnight. He just needs a couple of games to get back into the rhythm, get his feel back for top league football again. I'm sure he'll be fine. I wouldn't even consider dropping him at all. No. Oh no.
Definitely not. No, I think it's a mixture of, like you said, maybe not playing competitive football for a few weeks at the World Cup. Maybe the disappointment of not playing.
He's young as well. Youngsters will make mistakes. Any footballer makes mistakes.
Yeah.
Just get behind him. Let's get behind him as all the fans have, and he'll come back. He'll bounce back.
No, I'm sure he will. I agree with you. I think it was a mixture of him not playing competitive football and maybe the disappointment of not being picked too much in the World Cup, because he's a young player. He's been playing well. He probably felt he deserved a chance to play in the World Cup, and he never got one. And I think maybe mentally he just needs to settle down again. And he will be fine. Of course he will. He's had a great season. But yeah, that was maybe a slight concern in those two games. But the rest of the team covered for that, no problem at all. And Gabriel, I thought, had two decent games, and he's the one sometimes that we've been worried about.
But I think that's the important thing to mention, is the fact that Gabriel has played so well that it's helped Saliba kind of that not been highlighted. It's not been highlighted as much because Gabriel has done so well. And I do think they work well together as a partnership. I think they work very well together.
Yeah, they do, and that's why Ben White's been pushed out to right back, and he's done well there as well. So it's all working out well. Obviously,
one thing very quickly. What did Odegaard cost us? 29 million, was it?
35 at the end.
£30 million reject. What a reject!
Whatever it was a great deal.
Unbelievable. What a player!
Do you know, though, Neil? There's still people out there who don't rate Odegaard. Believe it or not.
I'm sure they know what football is there.
And I'll be highlighting them in this extra show this week.
Oh, good. I look forward to that, actually. Good. That's good. I mean, no, it's not that I don't rate Odegaard, right? Odegaard is clearly a very, very talented footballer. What I want to see is him dominate one of the big teams. He hasn't done that for me yet. He's very good against Brighton. He's very good against West Ham. He's good against the so-called sort of smaller teams. If you like.
I thought he had a very good game against. He had a good game against Liverpool at home this year. He did play very well.
No, he did play well in that game. Yeah, but this is what I want to see him do. I want to, we've got some big games coming up, as we've mentioned. If he's performing at this level in those games, then yes, obviously that's what we want to see him do. And he's a very, very talented player. He is. There's no doubt about that. His left foot is just wow. I mean, I love left-footed players anyway because I'm left-footed. I just think left-footed players that stand out. And he's got an amazing football brain. There's no doubt about that. But I just want to see him dominate some more big games before I can be 100% convinced. But 30 million, I don't really care because it's a bargain, regardless. If he doesn't play well the rest of the season for 30 million, we've got our value for money. There's no doubt. But
he won't be cost more than him.
Yeah, he's young, isn't he? And he's going to improve as well, and he's going to be able to do that. But yeah, I mean, I think he's a very, very talented player. There's no doubt. And I say that assist for the goal against Brighton was, for me, the assist of the season. You know, the assist of the year, pretty much.
Yeah,
but
superb.
It was, yeah. I mean, what a pass! Just incredible. Now, so you know, we played all these crappy little teams like West Ham and Brighton. You know, that's all fair enough. You know, swap them aside, no problem at all. Tomorrow we've got a slightly different proposition and a team that's actually on the up, playing really well, haven't lost for months and months. It's going to be a very, very difficult game tomorrow night at the Emirates, but a very exciting prospect. No, I think this game tomorrow is going to be a real defining match, maybe, because I think both of these two teams are the two form teams in the Premier League. There's no doubt. You know, we've lost only one; they've only lost one. You know, they haven't lost a game since August in all competitions. It's just they're on an incredible run. We're on an incredible run as well, and I think that this is going to be. You know, I said it earlier on the show, and maybe I was joking a little bit, but it could be over the next couple of years. The Arsenal-Newcastle kind of matches could become the new Liverpool-Man City games over the last few years, the games that really define the season. I'm not saying this one's going to necessarily now. It may be a little bit early for that, but it is a very, very important game. A win for us, and it gives us a massive lead on Newcastle, puts them sort of out of the way a little bit. If we lose, then it puts Newcastle right back in the title race and closes that gap right up. And I do think it's a really important game, and I say it could be the future of the title race over the next few years. Arsenal and Newcastle battling it out at the top, which will be great, wouldn't it? I mean, Adam, what are you making of this game tomorrow? Because it is a real big test for us, isn't it? And for them, obviously, but for us as well.
It is. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah,
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. Newcastle have still got the best defence in the league, I think.
Yeah, they have. Yeah.
When I checked last, like conceded 11 goals. That says a lot. I mean, and I think that a lot of people were very sceptical of Eddie Howe going in, but he's done what every sensible manager should do: sort the defence out first, and then build on the attack going forward. So he's doing it in a very, very good way. And I do think it's going to be tough. Like they're going to be hard to break down because they're going to want to go and not lose the game. They're going to want to come to the Emirates and not lose and see if they can get us in the break. It'll be the old classic: come to the Emirates, set up shop, and we'll try and get them on the break. But again, we've got to treat it like we have done with every other game, especially the Brighton games. Go at them from the word go, put them under pressure, and then let's see what they're going to do if we do put them under pressure. Because on paper, you look at that Newcastle team, you think they're beatable. But he's got them playing. He's got them playing in a very, very way similar to Arsenal in the fact that he's got that team playing as a team. Even like they had players as individuals who are now playing as part of a team, and he weren't shy in dropping players to the bench if they're not being as part of that teamwork. And that's the thing when I do look at Newcastle now. I think that actually you've got a good team ethic there. You are playing for each other. You are working hard, and that comes from the back. I just think we've got to go at them from the word go. We've really got to get at them quick, early, put them under pressure and see how they react. The first goal is going to be pivotal. I think it always is in football anyway, but more so given the fact that we're both on form and there's not much really between the two. But I am confident because of the way we are playing. I mean, had this have come after the West Ham game, I might not have been as positive. But I do think the way we went out against Brighton after West Ham proved that, we are then stepping it up again. So do you want predictions yet, or are we going to do that later?
I can give you a prediction now. Yeah.
I do think we're going to win. I think we're going to go for 2-1, actually. I don't think it's going to be easy at all. I don't think, I think it is going to be a tough game. I think it's going to be midfield battle for me is going to be absolutely key. And if we can get the better in the midfield, I think we'll win the game.
I mean, the midfield has been our strength, hasn't it, the last few games before the break and the last two that we've played. And I agree. I think if we do dominate that midfield, I mean, you look at individually, I think we've got better midfield players than Newcastle have. But you look through the team, you maybe say that as well. But I agree with you. Newcastle do play as a team. They've got a system that works, especially defensively. I think Botman's been a good signing for them.
Trippier's doing well for them, isn't he? He's a very important player, Trippier, for them.
Yeah, Trippier as well. Nick Pope in goals, a very good goalkeeper. They've done some good signings defensively, and they are very difficult to break down. And I think it's going to be almost the opposite of the Brighton game. The Brighton game, they had a lot of possession. We played on the counter attack. I think it's going to be the opposite. This is going to be Newcastle trying to play on the counter attack with the pace they've got in Almiron and stuff like that. So, but we'll see what it. We'll take a 2-1, won't we?
I'll take that any day of the week.
All day long. Shane says, you guys think Saka gets fouled a lot while the ref not giving it as a foul? Well, he gets tackled a lot, doesn't he? And some of them are fouls and some of them maybe aren't. But yeah, he's obviously targeted because he's a talented player and he makes things happen. And opposition know that. So of course he's going to get fouled. He's going to get tackled. They're going to sometimes 2 or 3 players around him, and he's got to deal with that because the referees can help him a little bit more sometimes. He doesn't always get as many fouls as he should do, but that's just the way that he is, the way he plays. You know, he's one of them sort of players. He wants to get the ball, take people on, doesn't he? And when you're that sort of player, you're going to get fouled because defenders don't like players running at them at pace and wanting to take them on. They'll say, well, you can get past me. The ball can get past me, but you're not getting past me as well, kind of thing. And that tends to be what happens. And yeah, I think the referees maybe need to help him out a bit more. But you know, he got a couple of these, won us a few penalties and stuff, hasn't he? So Terry says, went 3 too early, but changed my mind. 5-1 to us. Always feel more confident when Neil's on. Well, I mean, 5-1. That would be amazing, wouldn't it? If we did 11 goals in 17 games, and you think we're going to score 5 in one game? Well, who knows? It happens. It does happen. But I don't know. We'll see. I mean, 3-2 seems a little bit more likely, if I'm honest. But even that's, I don't know, that would be a very open, exciting game, wouldn't it? I mean, Tom, what are you thinking about tomorrow then? Because obviously Newcastle are the informed side. They've got the longest unbeaten run in the league currently, even longer than ours. So it's going to be really difficult. Their only defeat was at Anfield in the 96th minute, and they had a very harsh goal disallowed in that game when it was 1-1. So, you know, they maybe feel they could be unbeaten, as indeed could we. I suppose the Man United game that we lost. But it's going to be tough, isn't it, tomorrow? There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, it's going to be a hard one. You 5 is a bit pushy, isn't it? I'd love to see it, but I don't. It's going to be cat and mouse, isn't it? It's going to be edgy. It's going to be nervous. There's going to be. It might even be decided on a couple of errors somewhere because both sides can counter attack at speed. So it depends who blinks first, really. It could be one of those games. But Newcastle, they're in a similar position to us. They've got to prove stuff. Who would have expected them to be where they are? So it's one of those games. Everything's to win and everything's to lose. Although, you know, if I suppose the smart money's on a draw, really, because you've got these 2 sides that are attacking and similar in sort of attitude and everything about the 2 sides is similar. It almost mirrors, doesn't it? Fantastic players, but Eddie Howe's done a fantastic job. Almiron, Joel Linton, who would have thought he'd be playing so well? I mean, you know, he was dead and buried. I thought he was going out the exit door, but Eddie Howe's proved himself there, and there's more to do. I mean, he's probably just behind Arteta in where he thought they would be, you know, and they've overachieved, if anything, a bit like us at the moment. But yeah, it's going to be a really cagey, interesting, tactical battle. The counter-attacks are going to be blistering. It's going to be great fun to watch. I mean, if you can't enjoy this game, then you might as well just sit down and read some sort of paper or whatever. It's going to be an electric atmosphere. And I've got to say, when the Emirates now is like a fortress, isn't it? I mean, it's a fantastic atmosphere that they generate. And Neil said it. Every time you hear that crowd, it seems like the decibel levels have gone up. The excitement's gone up. The expectations have gone up. It's incredible.
It is incredible, and I think tomorrow night. I mean, if we do win that game tomorrow, then it's going to be an amazing atmosphere, isn't it? You know, to be beating a team that are, you know, they are one of our rivals now. They definitely are. They're going to be over the next few years as well. So yeah, the atmosphere tomorrow is going to be. I think it's going to be amazing. I mean, Newcastle they've always got a loud away support as well, so that's going to add to the whole atmosphere, isn't it? In the ground, it's going to be great, and I agree. I think it is going to be a very interesting game because I do think that very similar tactically we are, aren't we? The way, you know, I think Arteta and Eddie Howe are very similar in their kind of attitude to football. They want to play that same sort of similar way, don't they? And you can kind of tell the way Newcastle are playing. It's a high press, playing with a lot of energy, looking to counter attack with inverted wingers and stuff. It's very, very similar style, isn't it, that we play and they play? And I mean, it could be that the 2 teams cancel each other out, maybe, and it won't be such a game that we're hoping. But with the way that both teams play, you'd imagine that there is going to be. It could end up being a bit like a basketball game, couldn't it? One attack, another attack, counter attack, and stuff like that. It could be really good, but we'll see. I mean, Tom, we need your score. Adam's gone 2-1. What are you thinking?
I'd like 2-1. That's really good, Adam. It's a good call, so I can't go there. I'll be different and go 3-1, but I do think there's a suspicion in the back of my mind this could be a little bit of a dirty draw. But I settle for that as well, up against a really good side. But I prefer the win, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, a draw wouldn't be a disaster for either side, let's be honest. In the position that we're in, I think Newcastle will take a draw, and I wouldn't be... I mean, I think it depends on how the game plays out, really. I always look at draws and think, if we were under pressure a lot of the game and maybe we're behind and we come back late and get a goal, then you're happy with a draw, aren't you? But if we're dominating the game, we're on top, and then we let in a soft goal at the end and draw, then you're disappointed with a draw, aren't you, I suppose? But I mean, overall, I think a draw wouldn't be a disaster. I mean, Neil, what are you kind of anticipating for this one? Because obviously it's our biggest test for a long time, isn't it, really? The last few games I kind of expected us to win, if I'm honest, but this one is a lot more unpredictable, the result, isn't it? Because Newcastle are a very good side now.
That's about the two young managers, isn't it? I mean, I think we were linked to Eddie at some stage, weren't we? It was
we were. Yeah.
He's not a bad manager, and he's proving it now. And I think you guys are right. I mean, he's doing almost like a mirror job to what Arteta's doing. It's quite interesting to see how he's putting this team together. And my God, I didn't realise I knew their defensive record was good. I didn't realise it was only 11 goals they conceded. Wow. So that's a tough thing to break down. However, having said that, I'm sure we've beaten Newcastle by 7. We've scored 7 against them. I'm sure I was at that game. We put
7-3. The 7-3.
Yeah. There you go. And I know they haven't got a great record at home to us, have they?
No,
I think they've beaten us once in the last God knows how many. So
yeah, I think we've won the last 8. I think, before that, I think they did win the game before that, and then I think we won maybe 4 or 5 before that. So yeah, they've got a terrible record at the Emirates in particular. Terrible.
I think if we were away, if we were at their manor, I would have said draw. But because we're where we are, we're at home, we're at the Fortress now, it's got to be a win for me. And I thought, do you know what you're saying, Tom, makes a lot of sense about the draw. It's kind of got that vibe. But at the same time, then you added something, Richard, by saying it could be like a basketball game, one end to the other. And it could surprise us all. And it kind of might end up being quite a high-scoring game. You never know. They
drew through all with Man City, didn't they?
Yeah, right. So exactly. And
that was that sort of game, wasn't it?
And it could be, and we could be the ones that breach their defense and know how to get past it. And if we can attack early, and if we can do what we did, we've done quite a few teams this season, especially at home. Smash them early. Get that might make them feel that we've got to get one back. That opens up a little bit more. Do you know what? I'm going to go through a really mad prediction. I'm going to go for 6-3.
Oh my goodness, that would be incredible, wouldn't it?
6-3.
I feel dizzy.
It's going to be mental. You just wait and see.
I've only had one beer, Neil. Calm down.
Oh wow!
I think that's the thing, though, isn't it? It's the atmosphere at the Emirates now, where we used to go away, and you go to Anfield or you go to Old Trafford. It's very intimidating. Even places like Leeds, you go there, it's not the best place to go. You feel on the back foot straight away. Now we're doing that at the Emirates, and it really is. They say it's worth a goal. I think it is. And it's the best atmosphere ever for so long. It's so important to what we're doing.
Probably ever at the Emirates, actually. You say so long, not since the Highbury days. I don't think that's how long ago it's been. And
do you know what, Tom? I think the Leeds game still stands for me. It's still been our toughest game all season, even though we lost to Man U. I think we controlled Man U game a lot, and it's come out now, hasn't it? That VAR decision was wrong. So it could have been a completely different story. But I think for me, even though we beat Leeds, I think that's still the toughest game we've had so far this whole season. I thought that was a really hard game.
We were fortunate to win that game, wasn't we? The missed penalty, the chances that they missed in that second half, we were lucky to win that game, actually. I agree. That was a really tough game. And whether that was down to the atmosphere in the stadium or whatever it was, I'm not sure. But it's
not the best place to go, for sure.
Yeah, we were fortunate to come out of that with 3 points, actually. But there you go. I mean, that's maybe sums up the season in a way. Getting results sometimes when you don't always deserve to get them, and that's a sign of a good team, isn't it? Terry says, "Go on, Neil, say 5-1." Well, he's gone even crazier than 5-1. So we thought you were crazy, but he's gone 6-3. So there you go. I mean, maybe you've been thinking of that 7-3 game too much. I think that's what's happened. That was at Christmas time as well, actually, wasn't it? I think it was either just before Christmas or it was between Christmas and New Year. It was around about that time, wasn't it? That 7-3. So maybe you've been thinking of that game. But
did Theo Walcott score a hat trick? No,
he did. Yeah, he got a hat
he
trick.
did score a hat trick.
He scored four.
Four.
No,
Well,
it was
there
3.
you
He
go.
scored 3. He scored 3.
He scored 4.
No, he scored 3. Giroud scored 2. He came on and scored 2, didn't he, at the end, Giroud? I can't remember who scored the other 2 now. I'm not sure. But I know
there you go. Nketiah scored the hat trick.
Every time we scored, Newcastle scored that day. It was 3-3, wasn't it? And then in the last 10 minutes, we got goals at the end and finally broke them down and won the game. But yeah, I mean, that would be an amazing game, actually, because that was incredible, that 7-3. What a great game that was. A repeat of that would be nice. But I just think Newcastle a little bit more solid defensively these days than they were back in 2011 or 12, whenever that game was. But yeah, so, well, I mean, I still can't get over Neil's prediction. 6-3, but anyway, we'll take it. What a great game it would be. I think it might be a little bit tighter than that, if I'm honest. I don't think there'll be that many goals. I kind of quite like Adams 2-1. I've got to be honest. Like, I can see that being 2-1. But again, I wouldn't be surprised if it was a draw. And Paul has just said 2-1 Newcastle, but we won't listen to her. I'll go 2-1 Arsenal just because we've got to win. I want us to win, so that's what I'll go with. But I wouldn't be surprised if it did end in a draw. I'll be really surprised if it ends 6-3. But anyway, if you've got a spare couple of quid and you don't know what to do, stick it on 6-3 because you'll probably win a few quid back if that happens. But
I'm going to have to put money on that now. I'm going to put a couple of quid on that now.
Or alternatively, keep the 2 quid in your pocket because that way you won't lose it. That's probably the best advice. But that'd certainly be a good game if that was the case. So yeah, I mean, I think we all know it's going to be a very, very important game tomorrow night, and that's, it's going to be a good game to watch. Hopefully, the 2 of the top teams, 2 of the most informed teams in the country going head to head, and I do think it's going to be that sort of game. I really do, and it could be exciting. And let's hope, I say, a win puts us in a fantastic position. It gets that gap between us and Newcastle, and when you look at the top 4, that's would be a massive advantage to have, wouldn't it? When everyone else seems to be dropping points, so it would be fantastic. But yeah, let's hope we can do it. And it is.
Oh, hang on, and do you know what? If we do it, and Chelsea are playing Man City at home, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
So that's going to be quite a tough game for Man City. They could drop points again. This will be.
They could drop points again.
Oh.
But, we're
going to end up 9 points clear, guys.
Well,
I've been saying on the other pod that we're going to wrap the title up by the end of March, so I'm sticking with that now.
Yeah.
That's 250 to 1, by the way.
For 6-3, is it?
250 to 1, yeah.
Wow, it's 250 to 1 for a reason, Adam. It's 250 to 1 for a reason. Because
exactly, but I'm still quite tempted.
I mean, to be fair, that's actually a little bit shorter than I would have imagined. I thought it was going to be probably 1,000 to 1, something like that. But anyway,
it was before Neil tipped it. It was before Neil tipped it.
That's a big difference now because Terry's definitely going to put on that, isn't he? Now, there's no doubt. So the odds are going to get. It'll probably be 15 to 1 tomorrow. But anyway, let's see what happens. But
Ivan Toney's put a tenner on it. So it's all good.
Yeah, well, he puts a tenner on most things, doesn't he? To be fair, but anyway, yeah, we're sure that will come out soon enough. We may not see him for a while, but yeah. So yeah, we know it's going to be a big game tomorrow. It's an exciting occasion, isn't it? As well, that's what we like to see. It's a big game that you want to see, and the big games that mean something as well. In recent years, we've played the sort of teams, the informed teams at the top of the table, and they've not meant enough because of where we've been. This time, we're right in the thick of it. They're right in the thick of it. It's just a great occasion. It's going to be a great game. And let's hope that we can come out with the right result. And yeah, 9 points clear will be nice. Maybe 10 points clear even, Neil. Who knows? Maybe 10 points clear.
Well, you want to reinforce what you're doing, don't you? So if we're beating all the teams that are in contention, then it makes it even sweeter. It makes it even better. It's no good, as you just said, beating Brighton, West Ham. Nobody really gives it too much kudos. But if you're beating the Cities, the Liverpools, the Chelseas, the Spurs, that's where you get it. We won that. We won the title, beating these people, not the small teams, although you've got to do the business there as well. Let's not underestimate, these smaller teams because they're all in a dogfight. I mean, it's a mess down there, down the bottom end. So when you come up against those guys, you've really got to be on your game or you're out the door, so...
Yeah, you are. And it's more about the kind of the belief, isn't it? If we're getting results against the top teams consistently through the season, then there could be no doubt. No one can have any doubts that we're a serious team and we need to be taken seriously, you know, and that's what we need to do. And tomorrow's a great start because, you know, we haven't really, yes, we've had Liverpool at home, we've had Tottenham at home, but we haven't sort of had a team like, you know, many games like this have we so far this season. Yeah, we've got a lot more to come, and this is important. If we win this one, hopefully it can give us the momentum and the belief to go on when we're playing Man City and we're playing Liverpool away, and we've got Man United at home very soon. We've got Tottenham away next game after as well. So, you know, these are games that have let us down in the past, haven't they? That's where we fell down before, and let's hope that this time we can get that belief and starting tomorrow. Let's beat them and go on. Terry says there, plus City got Man U as well. Well, if they've got to play Chelsea and Man City on the same night, they're bound to drop points, aren't they? Because that's quite a big schedule, you know. I mean, I know we've moaned about our schedule, but playing 2 games in one day is quite tough, isn't it? But anyway, let's
do you know what, Tom? I think, to be honest, from what just adding on to what you just said, I think actually there in the Premiership is so good. I don't really think there's an easy team anymore. I think they're all tough. They're all. I mean, look, Brentford beat Liverpool 3-1 today. You know, that was after. You thought, oh, is Liverpool back again? Are they going to have a good run in the second half of the season? Already they've been beaten by Brentford. But Brentford are no mugs. And we know we went over there and beat them, and everyone was saying, oh, yeah. But it was a significant result after what happened at the, you know, start of last season. So I don't think there's anyone easy. I think what Rich said is right, though. He said that I think it's the thing about that whole big thing about the big 6 or the top 6 and beating them on top of all the others. I think the Premiership is one of the hardest, if not the hardest league in the world. And I think that every team can beat any team. And that's how difficult and why it's so difficult. So,
well, Brentford recently beat Man City as well, didn't they, away? And then they're beating Liverpool. So, you know, they're not an easy team to play. No one is. Brighton have got some great results, you know, and we went there and scored 4. So, no, you're right. There isn't easy games. And, I mean, the games are as easy as you make them. If you play well, if we play well, we've got better players than a lot of teams in the league. So, it should become an easier game. But, yeah, on paper, none of them are easy. I 100% agree. It's a tough league. It is a very tough league. And, you know, to be where we are after 16 games, 14 wins and 1 draw, I mean, incredible. Which is great. Russ says, I'd like to wish everyone a happy 2023. And to you, mate, as well, Russ. Hope you're well. All the best for the new year. And Russ also says there, Thomas Frank will be a manager in demand. Yeah, well, I think he's already, because he's proven what a great manager he is with what he's done at Brentford in the last few years. He's incredible, brilliant stuff. And they play some great football as well, don't they? So, yeah, well done to him and well done to Brentford. But yeah, the more results they pick up against the teams around us, the better it'll be, won't it? Because it helps us out as well. So long may that continue. Now, of course, after Newcastle, I know we're not. It's a while off yet, I suppose. A week tonight, actually, the FA Cup starts, and I always love the FA Cup. It's the tournament we've won the most from out of everybody. It's always been a tournament that's meant a lot to us. In recent years, the last couple of seasons, it's not gone particularly well. And we've got what I believe is actually going to be a potentially tricky little tie, actually. League One, Oxford United. Now, probably fans of a certain age won't remember when Arsenal used to play Oxford in the league. They was in what was the first division for about 4 seasons back in the sort of mid to late 80s. And I absolutely hated playing them. It was at home. It was a boring game. It was generally 0-0. Nothing ever happened. It was 15,000 people turned up. It was just a total waste of time. And then we'd go away at their crappy little ground with that little hut in the middle of the away stand. And we never won there. We never, ever won away at Oxford in the whole time they were in the first division. And they knocked us out of the League Cup once as well when they were in the second division. And it's just a horrible little team, a meaningless, pointless little team. They actually got quite a nice kit, though. I'll give them that. I do like their kit. But and we happen to draw them now in the FA Cup. They've got a new stadium now, which has only got 3 stands instead of 4, all a bit strange. They've got a car park behind one of the goals instead of seats with fans in, which is a bit weird. And obviously Oxford as a place is a little bit strange, isn't it? Loads of bikes everywhere, loads of students. It's a place to be avoided, quite frankly. And we've got, I mean,
you work for the tourist board, Rich?
Yeah, well, you know, I'm trying to get a job there. I'm sure they appreciate it. But and I think that just comes from my experience of going there about 3 or 4 times in the 80s and just seeing terrible games, losing it. I mean, even at Highbury, it was a boring game. I can't remember a decent game ever against Oxford, ever. I've never seen one. So let's hope that all that changes now. and we go there on Monday. It's a brilliant game. We win 7-0 and everyone's happy, but I'm not too sure. I mean, Adam, do you think there's going to be wholesale changes for that game? Because if we're going to rest players, surely that's the game to rest them in. A team that's struggling in League One, we want to avoid obviously a cup shot, which TV want because they've stuck us on Monday night. But do you think there'll be wholesale changes to the team, or do you think it'll go 50-50 a bit?
Well, first of all, I was really looking forward to it until you just gave me that preview. Now I feel quite depressed. Now I'm thinking of reaching for another beer because, I think I need to. Yeah, I'll cancel that trip to Oxford on Monday. Maybe do it next year. I want him to take this game seriously, unlike he did last season and the season before. I think the past 2 seasons we haven't taken it nowhere near as seriously enough. The only thing that scares me a little bit is the fact that we are doing so well in the league, and does he jeopardise potentially the FA Cup? To concentrate on the league. At the beginning of the season, we were saying, he's got to look at the cup, concentrate, do the FA Cup, try and get top 4. But part of me thinks that he might make wholesale changes now to give players a run out and to concentrate on the league. I hope not. I hope we do see more of a 50-50. Really, if I'm going to be honest, I do think we need to see players come in because the first team one players we've got need a rest. They do need a break. There's pretty much 2 games a week now for the foreseeable to catch up. So we do need to see that, but I don't want wholesale changes. I do want the core kind of still to be there because otherwise you're going to lose that momentum. And even if we lose in the cup, it can still affect your league form. I think it still can do that. We've seen it happen before. So as long as we take it seriously, we should be able to make changes and go to a League One side and get a result. We should be able to do that. But we know that it's never that easy. But do I think we'll win? Yeah, we should do, even if we do make those changes. I just still want to see that same level of performance, getting in there. But you say that, I mean, looking at the front, for instance, what changes can they really make up front? There's no, there's no one else really to kind of come in. You've got Balogun away, Eddie's already there, Jesus is injured. I can't see who else is really going to come in there unless he brings someone up from the youth ranks or changes the formation around a bit. But I think you'll see Vieira come in, for instance. You'll probably see Rob Holding, Tommy Asu, I would think, would get a game. Matt Turner will get a game in goal. So I think the obvious ones will happen. I think Lokonga will probably come in maybe for Xhaka or Partey. I think one of Xhaka or Partey will start, and then the other one will be replaced by maybe Lokonga. I wouldn't be surprised to see Smith Rowe get some minutes because from what I understand, he's pretty much back in contention now. I don't think they'll risk him tomorrow night, but it wouldn't surprise me if he got some minutes on Monday. That would be good to see him. So, if we make those kind of 5 changes that I've just mentioned, I still think that's more than enough to get a result. But yeah, we should be winning that game. We should be winning. I love the FA Cup. Third round always gets me going. So I just hope that it doesn't disappoint me like the Forest and before that Southampton. I just want us to get a good solid start in that cup and kick on from there.
No, I agree. I love the FA Cup, and getting to Wembley is brilliant. It's a great day out. It's a great competition, the oldest cup competition in the world, and we should be looking at taking it seriously. We shouldn't just dismiss it. And I agree. I think if we make those sort of changes, that'll be the sort of change. Manquillos probably coming in perhaps as well, possibly rest Martinelli maybe. So yeah, I think we should still have enough. But having said that, though, it's the biggest game Oxford have had for years. They've sold out their stadium. It's a complete sellout. So the ground's going to be rocking, no doubt. They did lose at home to Crystal Palace in the Carabao Cup earlier this season. So that kind of sets the kind of standard there. We should have too much for them. Let's be honest. What's going to be your score prediction then, Adam, for this one?
3-0. 3-0.
3-0, yeah, that'll be great if that's the case. I mean, Tom, do you think there's going to be a lot of changes? Would you make a lot of changes yourself if it was your choice? If you were the manager on Monday, what sort of team would you go with? Bearing in mind we've got Tottenham away the following week.
Well, I think he's got to bear in mind when we got dumped out of the FA Cup last season, it was a very brutal affair, wasn't it? But there's a couple of factors here, isn't there? Because there's the transfer window. What we're looking at is getting more bodies because I swear to God, the last couple of games, I've looked at the bench and nearly filled my trousers up. I was like, how are you going to actually change this game after about 60, 70 minutes?
Well, we
there's
did. We
hardly
changed it
anyone there.
against Brighton. We were 3-0 up. We changed it. We almost threw it away. So we've got players on the bench who can change the game, just not in the right way.
And that's the thing, is you've got to find the balance. So we could get 2 or 3 bodies in. That will help. But yeah, we've got to take this seriously. I would imagine only 3 or 4 changes maximum, because otherwise you're going to have, if they get a sniff of our goal and they get a bit excited and they get a goal in, we're going to be up against one of those dodgy results again. We're going to be backpedaling, panicking and stuff like that. We don't want that for this round. We want to just cruise through it. I'm going to say 4-0. I think we're going to batter them. I think we're that terrible, grotty little Oxford. We're going to have running water after we've been there. You know, no, I think we're going to bash them. But not too many changes. I wouldn't change too much.
I mean, I hope we do bash them, because it's about time we beat Oxford. We haven't played them for years, but I've still got this thing about, you know, we've never beaten them away.
Who owned it? Was it Robert Maxwell at some stage?
It was at one time. That was in the 80s. It was, yeah. He wanted to amalgamate them with Reading or something, didn't he? And make some sort of Berkshire super club or something or other.
Oh, no, it was Reading. It was Reading,
yeah, Reading and Oxford, wasn't it? He was trying to combine them together or something. But anyway, yeah, the whole thing is just you know, it's just, I don't know. I don't have very nice feelings about Oxford, if I'm honest. So
here he goes.
It'd be nice to go and smash them. It would be nice to go and smash them, but I don't know. I think sometimes when you come up against these sort of lower league teams, it's such a big occasion for them. They just rise up to it. The atmosphere in the stadium is probably like they won't experience very often playing in their league and stuff like that. And it's going to lift them, isn't it, as well? And I think we will make changes. I do. I think we'll make a few changes, because we don't, at this moment, yes, the window's open now, but we still don't have the depth, as you said. I agree with you. I look at the bench and it does worry me. In a game like tomorrow night, for example, you're looking at the bench thinking, who we're going to have to come on if we need someone to come on and change it, and there isn't, and I think that's a problem. But let's give these players an opportunity at Oxford to get minutes under their belt. That's what they need, and then let's hope some of them can play well and show that they've got something. Yeah, I know you can't judge how they play against Oxford to how they're going to play against Liverpool or Manchester United, I suppose, but you know, they deserve minutes on the pitch, and we're never going to. It's no good if they're sitting on the bench everywhere. They need to play competitive football, and there's going to be no more competitive football than the FA Cup, because everybody's up for that, aren't they? And Oxford will be relishing this game. It's the biggest game they've had probably for years at Oxford. So I think give them a go. Give some of these players, stick them in the team. Let them go out there and play. I mean, Neil, what would you do then? Would you kind of make a lot of changes? Or I know we want to keep momentum going. It's important, isn't it? But so is protecting certain players for the big games we've got coming up in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, it's a difficult one. I mean, the thing is, I worry if we go too far and then it turns into a bit of a disaster. And I know that the focus is the league. But Adam was right. So many times in previous seasons, we've been in 3 or 4 competitions. We lose one and it becomes a domino effect. And then we just lose grip on everything else. And I would hate that. So for me, I love the FA Cup as well. I mean, we're the record holders in it. Yeah. I want to add another one to that, make the gap even wider with our next rivals, Man United, in that competition. I'd love it. I'd love nothing more to win the double or even the treble this season, you know. So,
the quad, as you said, we can't anymore.
Well, yeah. I mean, we've won a few trophies already, haven't we? I know they're probably don't mean much, but we've lifted. We've got a taste of lifting silverware in the air. So, you know. So on one hand, that's sitting there in my mind. Then obviously we've got important games. I think he'll go sort of 60-40 change. So I think defensively, I think there'll be 3 changes. You'll have Tierney come in, you'll have Holding come in, you'll have Tomiyasu come in. I think the goalkeeper will change. I think Matt Turner's proving his worth. So I don't think he's conceded many goals yet, if any, when he's played.
One.
So
he's conceded 1.
There you go. So, you know, not a bad shout. Even that Hein, what his name is. He's a penalty saver. He's my first penalty saver in years.
He did save a few penalties, didn't he?
Yeah. And then you've got, I think, Lakonga will come in. Nelson is he injured? Because I think Nelson will play. Oh, he's injured.
Yeah, he got injured.
Yes,
pre-season.
Of course. Shame. So I think it was a good shout. Emil Smith-Rowe surely will get some minutes if he's fit. But then I think, you know, people like Xhaka, Gabriel might still be there. Xhaka might still be there, a bit to keep the spine intact a little bit. And yeah, it's going to be Vieira will definitely play. So yeah, I think sounds a bit more than 60-40, doesn't it? But I think he's got to keep the bench strong. The seniors are going to be on the bench just in case if there's any issue. I think it's going to be a tricky game because they're going to be so up for it. Of course they are. You know, it's the biggest game, as you said, for God knows how many years. They're going to be so up for it.
Yeah.
And all the media coverage is going to highlight their supporters. There's going to be loads of interviews pre-game.
They're going to go through all the cup exits, all the shocks that we've had, Wrexham and everything else. They'll go through them.
They will. Of course they will. You know, they need to bring out Arsenal down. They'll do their level best. So, but I still think we'll come out on top. And I'll be shocked you all and be a bit more conservative. I'll say 3-1.
Yeah, no, I mean that.
Yeah.
So you think we'll score 3 against Oxford in League One, but we'll score 6 against the best defence in the Premier League?
Yes.
Fair enough. Okay. As long as we win the 2 games, it doesn't really matter, does it? Let's be honest.
No.
We'll take that. I mean, Russ says there in the chat, I still want us to win the cup. Yeah, me too. I'd love us to win the FA Cup again. It's fantastic. You know, there's nothing better than winning. You know, than going to Wembley on Cup final day, walking out Wembley way, and obviously winning a cup at the end of it. It's fantastic, and I'd love to see that as well. Terry says, my biggest worry against Oxford is they will let us out after the game, and it's going to be a 15-minute City, or we'll have to play our home games there afterwards. Yeah, I mean, we don't really want to be out in Oxford, let's be honest. But anyway, Russ says there, do you think we are reaping the rewards of other teams underperforming like Leicester did when they won the league? Well, yeah, I mean, this season's got a lot of similarities to that season, hasn't it? You know, Liverpool obviously really struggling this season, transitioning. Man City have changed their style of play with Haaland now, and they seem to have dropped in points you wouldn't normally expect them to drop and stuff like that. So yeah, it's been a strange season, and yeah, we have taken advantage of that so far. And why not? You know, this could be the season where somebody unexpected wins the league, and so far it's going to come down to us or Newcastle if that's going to be the case. You'd say at this moment in time, and why not us? You know, we're there at the minute, and yeah, maybe we will. We'll see, but it's got a lot of similarities to that season to me. I've said this for a while actually, but let's see. I think we've got a better team than Leicester had that year. I think we've got a better group of players, so if they can do it, there's no reason why we can't. But let's see. But yeah, I'd like us to have a decent run in the FA Cup. It's been a while, hasn't it? Well, since that year we won it, we haven't put a decent run together, have we? We've only won 1 FA Cup since, so it'd be nice to get a little run going, won't it, and get deep into the competition. And then, you know, for me, you try and keep yourself in the cup, because it's just 1 game every month or so in the FA Cup, and you don't know where the season's going to be heading. As you said before, Neil, and you're right, sometimes we've been chasing everything, and within 2 weeks we've knocked out of everything. And you know, if we're still in the FA Cup in March and suddenly the league form drops off for whatever reason, then at least we've still got the FA Cup to fall back on. And if the Europa League's gone to crap, we've got knocked out, then at least we've still got the FA Cup. So I would definitely keep it going and play a reasonably strong team, a team that should be good enough to beat Oxford. But you know, they've been very, very poor this season. They're sort of struggling at bottom half of League One, but it's a cup game, and we've seen it before. We lost to Wrexham; they'd finished bottom of the league the year before. So you know, we were league champions, but we came into that game in bad form. So slightly different this time. We're coming into this game in good form, aren't we? So let's be confident. I mean, yeah, I think we'll win. Just I don't know. I fancy a 4-1 actually. I think a 4-1. I'm going to go for 4-1, and that'll be nice into the 4th round. Happy days. And that's what we want to see. Just before we finish, obviously the transfer window is open. It's been open for 2 days. Come on, what are you doing? No signings yet. What's going on? Come on, 2 days in. But what sort of areas of the team? I mean, I'm getting a little bit concerned about this Mudryk kind of fella. 60-70 million for a guy that's played 60 games in Russia or Ukraine League, whatever it is. I don't know. I think that's too much money on a player that is at the very, very top league. So I would rather we spend our money strengthening other parts of the squad, bringing in 2 or 3 players into the squad. You know, I think we need another striker as backup. I think we need midfield backup for Party. I would rather, we don't need a wide player. We've got plenty of them and they're very good, personally. But Adam, what are you kind of thinking for the window? Who do you want us to buy? Anyone in particular that you want us to get that we think we need to buy in January? Because we can't do nothing in January this year, can we?
Well, I think the Mudryk thing looks like it's going to happen. No matter who you read, whether they are unreliable or reliable, it seems like it's going to happen. Yeah. From what I've seen him, I don't think he's going to come straight in and be a first team player. No. But he's definitely going to improve the depth. And like you mentioned earlier, we need depth. We need strength in depth. And he fits the mould for the kind of player that Arteta wants. He's young, he's fast, he can play in more than one position, he can play pretty much, right or left. And he's obviously a player that he's had his eye on for a while, and he's pretty set on getting him. So I think that one seems pretty done. I mean, Costs, let's see. It's hard to judge a player on their fee. I mean, look at Pepe, for instance, and look what happened there. So I don't think it's fair to judge a player. No, exactly. But, whether, he could cost us 65, 70 million. In 5 years' time, we could look at that and think that's an absolute steal, but you just don't know. So I think that one's pretty much done. I think for me, we need to strengthen against centre midfield as a backup. So I don't think that Xhaka and Partey are going to last that season, with the games coming up. But again, more so, you just need that depth. And as much as I like El Neni and as much as I like Lokonga, I still think we need someone of a slightly higher level who can kind of come in and be seamless kind of replacement. I saw the rumours again about Tielemans, the fact that Newcastle are potentially interested could mean that Arsenal step in now, although from what I gather, Arsenal want him for free in the summer, but that could, twist their arm a little bit. Striker-wise, I can only see us getting someone on loan. I just can't see us going all out for a striker at the minute, because it seems very set that, we need, he wants central midfield, he wants a winger. That seems to me that's what he wants. I know there's been the rumours about Felix and stuff. I just can't see it monetary-wise making sense.
No.
Like, it's just going to cost way too much. I think he's a decent player. But the problem is, one hand, he's going to want to be first choice. And where's that put him when Jesus comes back? And the money, like they're talking about, just for a 6-month loan fee is ridiculous. So it just doesn't add up to me, that one, somehow. But who knows? Who knows? I could potentially see a lone striker coming in. I don't know who. I can't give you a name. But, it depends on... I think I saw today that Jesus is now off his crutches and he's going quite well. And the fact that Eddie is doing well doesn't necessarily means we need to...
We need to at Christmas
from Jesus. So, I don't know. I think we'll get 2 in. I think it'll be the winger Modric and I think it'll be a centre midfielder. I know that they're going after that Danilo fella again in Palmeiras. But again, I see him more as a future rather than now. But we need numbers, we need bodies, we need the depth is what we need at the moment. I would prefer, I don't think we'll see outgoings, really, to be quite honest with you, because that's going to weaken the depth, if anything.
Possibly Cedric was the one they were talking about, wasn't it? Cedric may be going out.
And I can get that, because obviously you've got Tommy who can cover that role. That's okay. Obviously Ben White's playing as our first choice right back for the foreseeable. So you've got that cover already. So I wouldn't be too worried about that kind of thing. But yeah, I think centre midfield or winger is what we'll see, and anyone else will probably be on a loan basis. But we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've got to do something. I don't think we can sit back like last year. We need to bring some bodies in. So we need to strengthen the squad depth. I agree, and yeah, I think the central midfield has got to be an area. Russ says I heard us linked with a Rabiot from Juve today. Well, yeah, I mean, there's going to be a lot of rumours, I'm sure, over the next couple of weeks.
He's a good player, Rabiot. I think he's a good player, but he's not. He's supposed to be not the easiest to get along with within a team environment, from what I've heard. Which I think is literally the opposite of what we want to do at Arsenal right now.
It is, yeah, but I mean, if we're looking at only certain characters of player and certain things, it does narrow down the options that we've got. I suppose. But yeah, you can't bring in someone that's going to disrupt everything, because that would be pointless, wouldn't it? I suppose. But yeah, we'll see. Melvin's in the chat. He says, "Hi guys, how you doing, Melvin? Good to see you." How did you get on in the quiz? Did you do all right in the quiz? I'll watch the beginning of it, and then I had to come over here to do this. Russ says Danilo is one for the summer. I think, it seems more likely to be the summer, doesn't it, that one? But yeah, we'll see what happens with that. I mean, Tom, anybody on your radar that you want us to sign? Vlahovic maybe as a striker could be another potential again, or no? You think that one's gone? You think that one's flown?
Yeah, I don't think we're going to go in for him. Mudryk, I think that's probably a 90% done behind the scenes. I think Tielemans, we have to look at him again. If we can get him for the right price. They're talking about Frank Kessie is available. So he'd be a real upgrade. We could bung him in instead of Sambi Lokonga. Lokonga is a really good player, and I really hope he does well. But he's just not up to the mark at the moment. I agree with Adam. It's a loan deal for a striker. It's not a buy. I can't see all these names being bandied about. It's just a loan deal to get us to the end of the season, because if anything happens to Eddie and Nketiah, then we're up shit creek. But loan deal makes sense. there are a few players out there. There's not going to be too many. We're not notorious for spending money in January, but we've got to spend it wisely, and we've got to get some bodies in. It has to be a mixture of experience and quality, really, at this stage.
Yeah.
And this will help us maintain our current form for the league.
Exactly. I mean, I think experience that you mentioned there, I think that's key, because in the position that we're in, we need players that can come in and do a job now. And, you know, that Modric is a little bit of a worry for me, because I don't think he's that sort of player that's going to come in and suddenly hit the ground running straight away, be in the team, but able to make a difference enough. I think we need some experienced bodies in there. We've seen what a difference Zinchenko and Jesus has made. Players with experience in the Premier League, players that have won the big trophies, know what it's all about. And we've seen our transition, our transformational they've been to us. And I think at least one player like that in January could be massive. Whatever position they're in doesn't really matter too much. Just that experience that we've seen, and if it's in a midfield area, even better, or a striker. But I agree, yeah, maybe a loan. But it worries me on the bench. The last 2 games, we haven't had a striker on the bench. It's just literally Eddie, and that's it. And yes, Martinelli could maybe play there if we had to, but I don't think Arteta wants him to play there, or he would have played him there by now. So yeah, you say we don't spend money in January. We did break our transfer record for Aubameyang in January, so you know we have done it before.
That worked out well.
Well, it did for a time, didn't it? The first couple of years it worked out well. It didn't end well, obviously, but it didn't work out too bad.
Wasn't it during the we won the league and we signed Reyes in January to strengthen the team? And at that time, people were saying we didn't need him then. People were saying at that time we signed Reyes. Why are Arsenal spending money on a player that they don't need? I mean, he certainly helped us get over the line. He added that depth. Modric, for me, could be a similar ilk to Reyes in that respect.
That's a good point, actually. I mean, if that was the case, wow, then it would be 65 million or 70 million well spent, wouldn't it? If he comes in and helps us win the league. But yeah, maybe you can do that. I don't know. I think football's maybe different now than perhaps then. But yeah, that's a good point. Reyes did come in. No one had really heard of him, and he come in and did a brilliant job and did help us that season, definitely. I mean, Neil, what are you thinking then for this window? What fabulous players do you think we're going to sign in January to get us to win the treble?
You're asking the wrong person. I never do gossip on transfers, because I wait until it's officially announced. I really I used to get so excited about who we were linked to, and we get that close, and then all of a sudden Chelsea sign them, and you think,
yeah.
And I just lost heart after that. I thought, I'm not doing it anymore, because I used to always be the one looking in the gossip columns, going on the internet, who we linked to, and trying to do some research. I just don't do it anymore, because I'm really the wrong person to ask. So forgive me for that. But look, if we
areas of the team, what areas of the team would you like to see us strengthen?
I mean, I do worry about the centre midfield. I've been saying that right from the start of the season. I mean, because they are so good, because Partey and Xhaka are doing so well, because they've got that great relationship and partnership going. If something, touchwood, nothing happens, but if something happens, that's going to be massive for us, and we'll need someone to come in and step in. And I don't really think we've got anyone at the moment to do that.
No,
that's been massive. I tend to agree that, you know, I mean, I could never pronounce Mudric's name when I first saw it in writing, so I just called him Mad Murdoch from the A-Team, if you remember Mad Murdoch. And from what I've heard, you know, he's supposed to be a sensational player. So if we do get him and he lives up to that, and I know what you're saying, Rich, I think with Jesus and Zinchenko, different kettle of fish, because they've done it and won it, and they've proven themselves already in a tough league. So they've got the experience. He hasn't had the experience of the league. You know, all the YouTube videos in the world can highlight how amazing a player is. When it comes to it, it could be a completely different story. So it's hard to tell until they've actually stepped in the field of that environment to know how good a player is. But from what I've heard, you know, he's supposed to be the business. He's a great friend of Zinchenko's. Zinchenko's dying for him to come over. And by the way, did you see the way Zinchenko celebrates when we win?
Yeah.
He's just such a gooner, isn't he? He's just a gooner through and through. It's nice to see. So if he's got anything to do with it, I'm sure we'll get him over the line. But I think Shakhtar...
He can pay if he wants. He can pay for him if he's that keen on him.
True. Very true. That's a good point, actually, Rich. But they're quite a hard... I've heard that they're quite a hard club to negotiate with. So I don't know if it is going to happen. But if it happens, great. If it doesn't... But I think the centre midfield for me, the striker's position, I think, it can be a little bit worrying. But I mean, if Jesus comes back quicker than everyone's anticipating, then we're going to have an on-form Nketiah, Jesus in the background. Do we need a striker? Maybe, but yeah, maybe a loan if possible. But I'm not sure. To be fair, Richard, I just think we need to have enough cover in the midfield. That for me is the big one. Defensively, we're fine. Cedric's the one that will go. Yeah, if anyone's going to go, it's got to be him.
I think
we're over flooded now on the right hand side. In the right back position. So there's no use for him, and it's no good for him as an individual as well. He's got to go off and play somewhere.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Cedric to go, Mudryk probably to come in. I just want that centre midfielder. That's me.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, Russ is there. He says Cedric and Holding might be shown the door. I mean, I don't know. Holding seems to be the one player that Arteta likes to call on, like he did against Brighton in the last 5 minutes when we're under a bit of pressure. Bring Holding on, and he tends to do a steady job. I mean, is that all Holding wants for his career? He's at an age now when he needs to be playing football personally. So I wouldn't be surprised if he was to go just to get more games. But
I think Holding will stay out the season. He's been at Arsenal that long. He ain't going to risk losing a chance of potentially getting a medal. I think he has got. I think he will see the season at Holding.
Yeah, I'll be surprised if he goes, because I do think Arteta kind of likes the job he can do at certain times, and he uses him quite a lot, doesn't he? Russ says, I can imagine Neil trawling through the red tops and checking teletext. Yeah, I think we all used to do that, Neil. Russ, didn't we, actually, back in the day? So, yeah, I'm sure we did. Well, I kind of agree with you, Neil. I don't like all these transfer rumours that go on. We're buying this player, we're buying that player. Let's wait until we've actually bought them, and then we can say, yes, we've got this player, and we can find out a bit more about them, maybe. But, yeah, I'd like to see us buy definitely in midfield. We definitely need a midfield player. There's absolutely no doubt about that in my mind. We've got to buy someone. And I'd like to see someone who's got experience either in the Premier League or at one of the top leagues in Europe that can come straight in, do a job, because you can't play with Partey and Xhaka for the whole season. You just can't, because it's not going to happen. All the number of games that we've got, the Europa League, the FA Cup, hopefully as well. I think we need to look at that. I would like to see a striker, but in 3 years, Arteta's bought one striker in 3 years. So the likelihood of him buying another one 6 months after he bought his first one, I'm not sure if we will, if I'm honest. And I agree, if Jesus is back in February or March, it's still a risk with Eddie, because if Eddie gets an injury in the next couple of games, who have we got? Nobody. That's the problem. And yes, Man City won the league 3 years in a row without a striker. So why can't we? But,
the only thing you could potentially do, if it worst comes to the worst, is put Martinelli in the middle and play. And if Emil Smith Rowe, hits the ball running very quickly, stick him on the left and put Martinelli in the middle.
We could possibly mix and match, but it's the depth, though, isn't it, in that squad? As Tom rightly said before, and I totally agree. When you look at our bench, in a lot of games we're going to be facing, we need players on the bench who can come on and make a difference. And yeah, you're right what you said, though, Neil. If we bought another striker now, you've got Jesus, who's going to be first choice when he's fit. You've got Eddie, who's come in and done a good job. But it's options, isn't it? It's different options that you need in certain games. You need to have options on the bench that you can look at. Right, we can bring this player on for 10 minutes if we need a goal. And we haven't really got that. And that's what we need to sort out in this January, because we may not find ourselves in such a great position. Again, we don't know. Yeah. We may well do every year, but we can't take that for granted. And if this is our big chance to do something massive this year, if we don't take the opportunity in January to improve this squad, then we might regret it forever.
I do think, though, we know from Arteta already, he's not just going to go and sign anyone for the sake of it.
No,
they seem, him and Edu seem to have a very clear idea of the kind of player they want.
Yeah,
and they're very, very located. So it's not like, I don't think they're going to rush into anything, And I think that's a good thing. I do think that's a good thing. You see a lot of players come in and...
It's not so much rushing into things. The January transfer windows come in, at the start of the season. So they've had plenty of time to prepare and look at the players that they want and try to get these deals done, haven't they, I suppose? But yeah, I agree. They're not just going to go and buy anybody. And I wouldn't want us to buy anybody. They need to be the right players, but we do need to do something in January. It's no good getting to the end of January saying, we couldn't get the players we wanted. And we're going to left with this squad, and we could blow what is a great opportunity for us to do something special this season. I don't want to see that happen. I mean, we did it last season. We took a risk in January, not bought anyone, and it didn't pay off really. But we can't afford to do it again. So let's see what happens. I think it's going to be a big January.
I think we've got to bear in mind, Rich, as well. If we go down the loan route, it makes more sense because Balogun is actually doing a good job on loan. So he's got to be featuring in the plans long term. So if you bring a full term striker in, buy one, then you've got problems in that area. Coming back to the transfer market as well, Arsenal do a lot of slippery deals, don't they? Who expected Vieira to
Yeah.
pop onto the radar? Martinelli. So, yeah, all these names can be bandied about and we can have a look on YouTube and all that nonsense. But Arsenal
just never know.
operate
Yeah,
at
we
a
never know.
different SAS type level. So they're looking for the grey man, the Brazilian. We'll probably have another one before the season's out, won't we? But yeah,
wouldn't be surprised.
no major panic. I think they're on the case. And as you said, Edu and Arteta, I think they've got it all checked out. They learned from the failure of last January. They're not about to make that mistake again when we're in such a strong position.
Well, let's hope so. I mean, that's got to be the ambition of the club, surely, in this January window to add to what we've got and to increase our chances of, I say, doing something what could be really, really special. So yeah, let's hope so. But we know it's only 2 days in, so there's no time to panic yet. We've still got another 29 days or left of the transfer window. So let's enjoy the games that are coming up. If anyone comes in, the new signings, we'll enjoy them as well, I'm sure. It's going to be an exciting January, isn't it? Some of the fixtures that we've got, the North London derby coming up very soon as well, Man United as well. Difficult games, but good games, of course, starting tomorrow night. Really, really important game, an exciting prospect that is as well. So lots to look forward to. I think 2023 started already, and already we're getting quite excited for what might be coming over the next few months, aren't we? Which is great to see. Unlike the last few years where it's been, oh my God, can't this season just finish? This is a season we want to keep going, don't we? So it's nice to be in that position for a change, because it's been a long time. Let's be honest, it has been a long time coming, and we need to make the most of it, because who knows when it might come around again. Hopefully every year, but we shall see. Anyway, that was episode 16 of the Arsenal Review. We've got 16 episodes out of the way already. Brilliant stuff. It's been great. And hopefully it's been an episode that you've all enjoyed. Adam, great to see you again back on the show. You enjoyed it, Mike?
I did. I really enjoyed it. It's been a while since I've done the review. But yeah, very, very good to be back. Very, very different to what I'm used to doing on the channel. But yeah, thoroughly enjoyable.
Good stuff. Good to see, I say. And obviously, you're back on Thursday, aren't you, with Steve for the
back on Thursday,
Social Extra, which is proving to be a fantastic show. Really enjoy that. Looking forward to that.
Make sure you're all tuning in. We've got some talking about the transfers. We've got some. Tom just mentioned about the SAS style transfers. Well, I've got some SAS style bands to share with you as well.
Oh, so exciting!
Yeah. You know what our fans are like when they get transfer and the rumours.
Yeah,
a bit mental.
They are indeed, which is great. So we look forward to that on Thursday. So definitely join Steve and Adam for that 8 o'clock on Thursday, the Social Extra show. Really, really good. Tom, as well, obviously your channel as well. Give your channel a little plug. What you got coming up over on your channel?
We're going to be covering the Newcastle game on Wednesday, and we will have it out on Thursday. So I've got some of the pocketeers back, so it'd be great. But thanks very much for having me back. Really enjoyed it once again. And come on, Arsenal, keep going. Keep the train moving.
Yes, exactly. I say, always a pleasure to have you on, Tom, of course, as always. I say, check out, what's your channel called again, just so everyone can find it?
It's an Arsenal Thing podcast. It's on Spotify, Anchor, all those type of things. And it's also on YouTube. You can subscribe to that one on YouTube.
So get yourself over there and definitely subscribe to that. So it's great over there. Great shows that they put together there. Really good stuff. And Neil as well, of course, good to see you again. I know it's been a few weeks that you've had a break away. You enjoyed being back on?
Oh God, always. I love it. I love meeting you guys, seeing you guys interacting. Lovely to see Adam on the show and Tom again. Yeah, just an honour and a privilege. And yeah, always enjoy it, especially when we're top of the league and winning. What's not to enjoy?
Well, exactly. This is
even turning you into a bit of a positive person rather than negative. It's great to see.
No, I just what I don't like doing is I don't like that feeling of that.
I'm only joking, Rich, by the way.
I don't like that feeling of disappointment that happens when the season goes to shit, right? And I'd rather be prepared for that before it happens. And if it doesn't happen, it's even better. And if it does happen, I'm kind of ready for it. That's I'd rather set myself up like that, really. And that's what I've done this season. I'm getting to the point where it's actually quite difficult to keep doing that, because I'm looking at the way we're playing, looking at league table, thinking, you know what? I think we're going to win the league. I think we're going to win the double. I think we're going to win the Europa League. And I'm getting a bit like you now, Neil. And I'm having to.
Oh, good to hear.
I'm having to control it and reel it in, because otherwise I'll end up, smashing the house up when we lose twice and finish third or something. So,
but thank you for having me on. Honestly, really, real pleasure. Thank you.
It's always a pleasure, yeah. Of course, as you know, you're always welcome at any time. And hopefully, Steve gets his issue sorted out at his house. He's got boiler issues or something. He was saying, wasn't he? Before?
Yeah, Terry.
Terry, if you're listening,
in touch with Neil.
Yeah, Terry. If you're listening, Steve needs some help with his boiler. So if you're around, give him a call and help him out because he's struggling a bit. I hope your decorating's going well as well. So thanks all you guys in the chat as well. As always, obviously Terry, Shane was in. Obviously Russ was in. Melvin as well, of course. I know he was busy tonight doing the quiz over on Ryan's channel, which is always good. Russ says, cheers. There's no thanks a lot, Russ, for tuning in. Terry says, cheers, chat's very good listen tonight, and wallpaper all up. That's good then. So I won't be sleeping on the sofa now. Good lad. Take care, everyone. Come on, you guys. Good night, all. And good night. Yeah, cheers, Terry. Glad you got your decorating sorted. Hopefully our show helped you kind of, get the rhythm going as you was. Which is good.
Terry's a man of many talents we're picking up throughout
the
season.
He's a man of many talents. We'll have to definitely get him on the Melvin's all the best. And yourself, mate. We'll speak very soon, I'm sure. I'm back tomorrow, of course, with a watch along Arsenal versus Newcastle. That is going to be good. 7:30, we are going live, 7:45 kickoff. But it's going to be a great game. So definitely you don't want to miss that because it's going to be a lot of fun. And hopefully it's going to be a big victory for Arsenal. 6-3. That's what we're going for. That's what Neil said. We're going to go with Neil. It's going to be 6. You don't want to miss all them 9 goals there. So you definitely want to tune in tomorrow and watch all that because it's going to be fun. So we'll be back for that. And then on Thursday, I'll say Adam and Steve are back with the Arsenal Social Extra, which is always a fun show as well. And then Friday, we've got the Women's Weekly Show. So we'll be bringing you all the latest news from the Arsenal women, transfer window stuff, the game against Chelsea coming up, all that sort of stuff as well on Friday. And then Monday, we will be bringing you the watch along from Oxford, where hopefully we will smash them 25-0 because that's what they deserve. But anyway, we shall see. The FA Cup's up and running, which is good.
Optimism's creeping out, isn't it, Rich?
Isn't it? He's going a bit too far now.
Well, it's Oxford, isn't it? It's Oxford. They've damaged me badly over the years, and I want us to get rid of them.
I'd never have guessed. Never.
Yeah. So, do you remember that League Cup game, Adam, when they beat us 3-2?
No, thankfully. I was probably. What year was that?
84, I think.
Yeah, I was 5. So yeah.
Probably just. Do you remember that time?
My first game was in 87.
I've got rid of any major defeat that I don't like. It just goes.
Yeah,
I just get rid
rid
of it.
How do you do that? Even now, I can't even look at Wrexham on a map without it annoying me. You know what I mean? And that was how can you just put? I can't put them to one side.
Yeah, I don't need it. I don't need a defeat. Off you go. Gone.
I can't do it. It's like Luton as well. I can't stand Luton.
Oh, that one annoys me.
Yeah, Luton.
The League Cup final.
I remember Luton.
Oh.
All those defeats, I've never ever got over them. All those terrible Walsall when they beat us in the League Cup, I just hate all those places. I hate driving past them on the motorway. I just can't stand them. Seeing the name come up, it annoys me. It always just takes me back to those horrible games that we got humiliated in. And obviously Oxford's one of them. So yeah, I wish nothing but a terrible defeat for them on Monday, and I'll be enjoying that if we do. No doubt I'll be getting Oxford fans kind of messaging me now, telling me that Oxford's a lovely place, really. I'm sure it is. I just don't like it. So anyway, thank you very much for tuning in, everybody. And I'll be back tomorrow for the game. And Adam's back on Thursday with Steve. That's going to be good. Thank you very much to Adam, of course. Great to have you back, Tom, as always, and Neil. Fantastic. To see you all, and hopefully tomorrow night we could be 10 points clear at the top of the Premier League. Let's go. Come on. 6-3. We're going to do it. Neil said, and we believe him. Real Martinelli. It's now with Granit Xhaka. Is it going to be the third goal? It is the third goal. Granit Xhaka with it. That seems